Well, this sucks.
All right, let's get down to business. I just wanted to say real quick, I just finished watching American Horror Story Part 1 of Double Feature, and I am disappointed. It was very disappointing. This season seemed like it was going really well. It kind of fell off when Doris died. It seemed like it was going into a direction, like it seemed like everyone, usually when we watch these, there's a crescendo. There was no crescendo moment. It kind of just halted. And I don't know if that's because it's a double feature and it's like one part to another, but it was very lackluster and it was very unbelievable. The most believable ending that was abrupt but seemed believable, a good example is Freak Show. Ironically, I loved the Freak Show reference. It was very vague. It was very like, it wasn't even anything related to Freak Show. He just said it, but it's cool. And there's a cookie for that. I just thought it was really strange how the girl was just like, oh, we're going to go to another place. How are you going to go to another place when you got this girl in custody? Like, are you going to leave Ursula? Like, it was just crazy. It was just really strange ending. Really like, I think what happened in this episode should have happened in the before episode. Like, see, the worst episodes of the series are usually the ones before the final episode. Like, everything happened in this last episode, whereas it should have kind of all happened in the last episode, and then this episode should have been kind of a conclusion thing. It's everything. This last episode was everything, and I didn't like it. And by worse, I don't mean bad, I mean what happens in it, not the quality, but the content, like the goriest episodes when people die and everything. Every American Horror Story season has always been like, okay, for example, American Horror Story, the first one, Murder House. Everyone knew about Murder House, but only people in Murder House were getting murdered and staying there. It didn't affect the world. Asylum, same thing. Things happened in the asylum and it didn't affect the world. When it started to affect the world in Apocalypse, everyone hated it. Usually, this anthology series only took place in one part, and it did not affect the world. Freak Show did not affect the world. Some things happened in it, but basically, it was just in that place. Now, this dude, like, no holds barred, he's just, like, destroying LA. And maybe that's, like, his secret dream or whatever, to burn it down, watch it burn. But that just doesn't work here because this is a series where there's a bunch of people, like, where are they at? How did this happen? How did it get to this point? I just feel like this season was very lackluster at the end. It started off very, very strong. Everyone was really interested in getting this show back to its glory. Link is in the description to my review, all the American Horror Stories ranking. As it stands right now, before the next one, Red Tide has got to be, like, even Tuberculosis Karen, her story, and Macaulay Culkin's story ended far too quickly. And yes, it was a short one. I know it's a short one, but this is just strange. If we were going to get Red Tide and then we were going to get the next one, this double feature thing only happened because of COVID, something was taken out. And he should have just left that in there because why not? Why not just leave it in there? Just seemed like everything was very abrupt. Everything stopped very quickly. It actually seemed like Belle Noire was like rushing through her scenes, like rushing through her lines. She was like, we're gonna clean up this town. Like she had to like rush her scene like really quickly. It was crazy. When that was going on, yes, a lot of things happen that are quick in every single American Horror Story. This ain't my first rodeo, so don't get in the comments and be like, oh, it usually happens quick like that. But this was extreme. She was double timing all she had to say. And I think it's ridiculous because they probably made her do that. And like, because they needed to get things out of the way and they needed to get it out of the way. She's like, she can't even like sit there and let things simmer in our face. And then why would the chemist help? I just don't understand the chemist's deal. Like, I don't know why. I guess she's with whoever's in power, I guess. A lot of questions are unanswered, like why is Ursula just giving out the pills when she was making money off of them? Her whole deal was to make money off of them. Her explanation just seems so convoluted. And then she's gonna play the game like, oh, don't ask how the sausage was made. Like, you just want us to just sit there and smile and act like, oh, let's just pretend that we know how she got all those pale people to the house. Like, Really? If I were to give it a rating, I can't rate it on a 10-point scale because it's not a full thing. It's double feature, so we have to watch the next one. Hopefully the next one will kind of bring Asylum back into light, because they've been literally like referencing every single other American Horror Story. Even Roanoke was like referenced more than freaking Asylum. Asylum was the one of the best ever. It was sad. It was realistic. It was interesting. And it was full of sci-fi. It's just so interesting. It's so multi-layered. This one was just very straightforward, basic. It started out good, like I said, and it ended really bad. I give this a 3 out of 5. And then I'll add the points with the next one. I really hope the next one's better than this, because this was terrible. It wasn't horrible. It was just terrible. It sucked.